Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. For today's episode, I thought we could talk a little bit about turning back to God. I have talked about spiritual ups and lows in the past, which I will be linking down in the description box. But for today's episode, I thought we could talk about turning back to God, what it means, and why it's so important. So let's get started. So what does it mean to return back to God? I think it stems from the idea that every single one of us has highs and lows in our faith. And so when we hit these lows, when we're at a spiritual low in our faith, what do? Do we run to God or do we run away from God? And most of the time, unfortunately, it's run away from God. You run so far, like you're already so far in whatever you're doing that you feel like you can't face God, and so you just sort of just keep doing the thing you've been doing instead of going to God and apologizing. Because essentially, isn't that what turning back to God is? Isn't turning back to God recognizing what you're doing is wrong, that you need help, and that you need forgiveness? And so you go to God and you ask for forgiveness, literally just sitting down and praying to God and acknowledging the fact that you've done something wrong and asking for forgiveness. Isn't that what turning back to God means? So then why is it so hard? Why is something so simple so hard to do? I think it comes from the fact that every single one of us as humans feels some sort of emotion. When we recognize we've done something wrong, we immediately feel shame and guilt, right? It's like natural, it's like the natural response. And then that natural response to like doing something wrong, that natural emotion becomes like a flight mode, like you're running away. Because you don't want to face it. You don't want to face the fact that you've done something wrong. Instead, you're trying to cover it up and you're trying to hide it by doing more. Like, that doesn't exactly make sense, but neither does turning away from God when you do something wrong. It's like refusing to take a shower when you're dirty. That doesn't make sense. It's not logical. If you're dirty, you go take a shower. That's just the way it is. And likewise, it's the same with us. That's the same thing. When you sin, you go back, you could turn to God, right? And it doesn't matter how dirty you are. You could literally just be sweating and then you go take a shower, right? Or maybe you fell in like a puddle of mud, then you'd also take a shower. Like, it's the same solution. So no matter how dirty you are, if you take the shower, you're gonna be clean. It's the same effect for someone who's completely covered in mud and for someone who's just has a speck on them, right? And it's similar to us sinners, to everyone who sins. It does not matter how bad your sin is, God is the solution. God is the shower. He will make you clean again. And Jesus uses a really good example of this as well. In Luke chapter 5, verse 31, he says, Jesus answered them, "People who are well do not need a doctor, but only those who are sick. I have not come to call respectable people to repent, but outcasts." So the second part of that, where he's saying that he's not called respectable people, I'm not saying you have to be dirty to go to God. No, and I don't think Jesus is saying that too. He's not saying that the clean people shouldn't go to God. The people who are not sinning as much shouldn't go to God. No, not at all. But rather that the people who do sin, the people who are in spiritual lows, the people who need God should come to God. They shouldn't run away. They should also come to God. It's like a joint thing. Everyone should come to God. And so I think that's what turning to God really means. It's just recognizing you've done something wrong and then going back to him. I know it's so easy to sit here and be like, just return to God, just ask for forgiveness, just sit down and say, God, I'm sorry. Please help me not do it again. But actually not doing whatever you've been doing can be hard. And actually sitting down and having this conversation with God can be hard, especially if you don't feel his presence. But the thing is, it's not about feeling, it's about what you know in your faith. Are you willing to believe in what you actually know is true about God? Are you willing to believe that Jesus Christ has already redeemed you because he has given up his life for you, that you are granted salvation forever? So to wrap things up, I think returning back to God means recognizing that you're in a place where you don't really want to be. Whether you're sinning or whatever you're doing, it's creating distance between you and God. And so you can bridge this distance by asking God for forgiveness and just communicating with him, praying to him. But sometimes you might feel like he's not listening. Sometimes you might feel like you're just talking to yourself. Sometimes you won't feel his presence. But the truth is, God is up there listening to you, and he's willing to forgive you, and he's willing to receive you with open arms. And that is the truth. And the truth will forever be the truth, no matter what you feel or think. So then why not just accept it? I know it's hard to break out of a cycle, break out of a habit, something you've been doing for so long. To return to God, it's hard. And I hear that so many people say that life is too short, but I think eternity is way too long not to return to God. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to comment down below what you think. Until next time, let's all continue to share the good news. Bye!